Yo, what's up? This is Splendid Radio on PharcydeTV with my co-host Jeremy Scipio
What's going on, everybody?
and our special guest.
Ibo Brewer, that's me.
Yes, sir. Ibo's very easy, but I didn't want to mispronounce it. You know what I'm saying? Murder your name.
It happens. It wouldn't have been the first, it won't be the last.
That's right, man. Nah, man, I appreciate you tapping in the whole nine. I want to start today's show off with a shout out to all those that indulge in 420, man. It's just today's just like the greatest day in the world for them. Yeah, it's interesting. I'll say what 420 did for me, man. I met with a client and I had some nice tacos. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Taco Tuesday and 420. Go hand in hand.
Yeah, had some nice tacos. So Ebro, when was the first time you heard hip hop?
Oh man, my first experience in really just like getting a song and then just listening to it over and over again is NWA.
Which song?
You know that song, Easy, everybody come on, Easy.
Oh yeah, the Bootsy. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Rob Bass. It Takes Two.
Yeah.
It Takes Two. Those are the jams. Back when I was like little. Like I didn't even know. NWA had me convinced that Compton was the most dangerous place on the planet. And I lived in Gary, Indiana. So that was
oh my God.
That was good ass hip hop.
Yeah, you hey,
like, damn, it is dangerous
out there. You're right with that Gary. Only thing I know about Gary, Indiana is that movie that had Sparrow and it has Sparrow and Jim Brown and
oh yeah, man.
Oh man, fool, everything was getting shot up, man. Everything was getting shot up. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, they were shooting in bullet holes that were already there.
Yeah.
They didn't need to do anything to the set. It already looked like a war zone.
Yeah, Gary, that's who's Michael Jackson from there, right? The Jacksons.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm gonna take the roughest city. They ain't
Freddie
even finished
Gibbs.
naming y'all place.
Yeah, Freddie Gibbs from there. Well, Freddie Gibbs is from there, and I'm from there, and I feel like we and him were there when it was bad. Like Michael Jackson was from the good Gary.
The good Gary. That sounds like a TV show.
Back then it was a good Gary. They had the steel mills and everything like that. Just listen to Freddie Gibbs songs, and you'll know how Gary is.
Oh yeah.
Yo, how has hip hop affected your style?
I mean, it's like it's a part of my culture. So like, you know, when I do comedy, you know, I do it kind of like a true hip hop artist. Like I don't let anybody tell me what I'm gonna say or censor me, and I tell my story, and I tell my story without any. Hey, if I lose some people, I lose some people, but you know, I try to tell the truth about what's going on. I'm not gonna sit here and we got all this stuff going on in the world and stuff like that, all this strife, and I'm talking about pets. I'm talking about my wife and kids. No, you know, I'm not married.
Can you not personally attack me on the podcast? Thank you. I just because I like to do clean, safe comedy. Thank you. No, fine.
No, I mean, you know, like I don't insult anybody's, you know what I'm saying, style. I mean, I know you was joking, but everybody has their niche, you know. Everybody has, and I respect everybody's hustle, you know, because that's what it's about. It's really about hustle. And but me personally, man, I'm gonna say nigga a bunch of times, and I'm gonna talk about white folks.
When you said you do comedy like a hip hop artist or whatever, I thought you were gonna talk about like holding the mic real close to your mouth like this,
cuffing the mic. He even came with the muffle, cuffing the mic.
Like, that's exactly what they do. That's the way you
hold it up. Hold it like a blunt. You ever seen
I've heard so many sound men say, please tell them to stop cuffing the mic. That's what and dudes be grabbing the mic like this, and then they be like, yo, man, go to the soundboard. Get it right, man. Tell soundman to get it right. He said, well, tell them if they held the microphone a little lower down, you know.
It looks cool on TV and movies, but it's terrible for sound. There's no way to cover. It's like, what you say? Oh, make some noise. Like,
So, Ebro, when was the first time that you realized you had a passion for comedy?
During the Iraq War.
Whoa.
I was in the most serious situation a person could be in, and I was making people laugh. Like our lives were at stake every day, and you know, it's like one of those like because you develop comedy as it's kind of a defense mechanism. You know, it helps you cope with what's going on around you.
A deflection.
Yeah, so like I was figuratively and literally killing over there.
So tell me this. So you were in the Iraq War, and you learned that you had a talent for making people laugh and whatnot. Now, before the Iraq War, let's just say high school, junior high school, you never thought about comedy or nothing?
Funny. You know, I was funny, but like I wanted to, like most young black men in high school, I wanted to be in a sport. You know, I was good at football and running track, so I thought I was going to be a professional athlete. And then when that didn't pan out, you know, I was in college. I spent a year in college. I got a scholarship to go play football and run track. And then that didn't pan out because I saw the dude, the one of the best athletes I'd ever seen out of that school was working at Sprint. And so I was like, all right, man, this track stuff ain't gonna work. And I don't, you know, this football is, man, I'm good, but these dudes is good. And so I joined the military to just give myself some more time to figure out what I want to do. And I put myself into more college debt. And yeah, like that's when it happened. That's what, like, cause I always was funny. Everybody knew I was funny, but it's a difference between being just a funny dude to being a comedian. Like that takes a special type of, you know, you got to be able to make people laugh that don't like you. You know, like people look at you, man, I don't like this dude, man. I don't like his face, bro. And then you still make them laugh. That's what it counts.
Yeah, Jeremy, he pulled me into my first comedy experience that wasn't like a headlining, super headlining, stand-up type situation. And I walked away from that experience with a lot of respect for the people that touched the stage, because fortunately, the night that I was there, the people were just dying to hear some jokes, but the comedians they didn't. In my opinion, the comedians before Jeremy, and dude, this is no prejudice that I got towards Jeremy because I never heard him tell jokes, you know, whatever. But it was like the audience wanted funny and the people were just going in the opposite direction for whatever reason. And then Jeremy had his set, and then Jeremy didn't feel that he did his set cool, but everybody was like, you know, he took this crowd and he engaged them. And then I walked away from it and I was just kind of like, man, comedy's harder than hip hop, man. I mean, like in hip hop, you go into the studio and you can make a record. And then if the record becomes popular, you can do that record enough times to where you can perfect it and you can get it to where you can perform it because people like it, which motivates you to want to perform it better and everything. But comedy, dude, you walk up there to some people that, man, some people just got hate in their heart, man. like they could really just be like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Just like, okay.
Well, I had I grew up in two different backgrounds. I grew up in the suburbs, which was extremely white, and I grew up on the south side of Chicago. So I got hood audiences. Hood audiences were like my kryptonite for the longest time because I didn't sound like the traditional black comic. And it's different, like when white people go, and I mean, I know this is a generalization, but test me. When white people go out to comedy club, they go to laugh. They're like going because they believe it's going to be funny, you know? And when black people, especially hood cats, when they go to a comedy club, they go to see if you might be funny.
Yeah.
You know? Like it's like they want to see you fail, you know? You walk on stage like, look at this mob, look at this dude right here, man. All right, let's see, brother.
Hey man, I can own that. You know what I'm saying? I can, and it's whack that it's that way, but that is just the way. Like we're like, not speaking for every black person, but we are hard on people. You know what I'm saying? We go hard on our folks, man.
Well, when it's a black audience that's like, you know, upper middle class or middle class black audience, they're just like white people, because this isn't like something they need to relax, you know what I'm saying? They ain't been grinding all day, you know what I'm saying, in the hood. And I was like, man, hey, this dude better be funny, you know? Like, how much the tickets? $5? God damn. Do you got any wing specials? Man, these dudes better be funny. Man, got no wing specials. I had a dude turn around and eat wings while I was telling jokes, and I started to make fun of him. He looked back and gave me a look that let me know, nah, partner, this ain't the time to do that. All right, so I just let him eat his wings. But I mean, that's the nature of, you know, that kind of environment. It's like a dog eat dog environment. So you gotta earn your, like, why am I paying attention to you?
Hey man, I witnessed it, man, and it's so funny because I had a conversation with Jeremy immediately, and you know, they were his friends. Like, he knew the guys that were going up, and he didn't want to feel how I felt about it, but I could tell that he empathized with how I felt about it. Like, he could understand how I could feel that way. But he was going soft on them. But I was just like, man, this comedy thing is vicious, man. It's just a whole nother level, man. You got, like, in hip hop, you can play songs that people are familiar with and you can warm the crowd. Like, you know what I'm saying? When the crowd is they're not warm, they don't want to, if a hip hop artist does new music and like the people aren't feeling it, the DJ can just throw old one that the people do know in there. And then it's like, oh, and then you loosen them up and then you take them on the ride. Yeah. But with the comedy thing, dude, it's like even myself though, like, I feel like I wasn't trying to be hard on the comics that went before Jeremy, but I was just kind of like, oh man, like, I'm not, you know.
Well, that's the thing. When you're hanging about somebody like Jeremy, is like, he's a talented comic. You know what I'm saying? So he kind of ups your bar of what you think comedy is just by being around him. You know what I'm saying? So like you until you see other people, sometimes you're like, oh, this shit is hard. Oh, because I mean, like, he's seasoned. You know what I'm saying? He's been doing it a while, and he got his thing going. You know, and that's how it is. Like, when you see people trying or trying to build their stuff, you're like, ooh, ugh. But you never know who out of that group's gonna just be a monster. It could be something real small that they just got off. Comedy is a formula, and you could have this one little thing that's off, that's not right in the formula, throws everything off. But then they tweak that little thing, and all of a sudden, like, who is this monster?
Yeah. I'm gonna go off script. I'm gonna go off script for a minute, real quick. Tell me this: have you ever seen somebody that the audience was just not feeling at all, no parts of, and then just miraculously, some way, they turned it around?
In that set?
Yeah. You don't have to do a name. You don't have to say a name.
People do it, but that's only because they were dope comics. They were just trying something.
Okay.
So they tried something, and the shit did not go well. And we were sitting on, man, can you pull it? Can you turn it around? I've seen that happen. I've seen comics do that. But those are usually comics that were dope and they were exploring. Because that's why everybody's gonna bomb, because you know, you gotta explore. You gotta push your envelope to get better, to get to the next level of comedy. And sometimes when you're pushing that envelope, you push the wrong buttons, and then they'd be like, no, wait a minute, no, boo. Like, I've had people literally audibly boo at me.
He said audibly.
Like,
that's a good one. That's a good one.
How do we get him on stage? Isn't that how you do it? Boo!
I saw a very popular comedian, and they were filming a show, and he said the same joke like 3 times, trying to get. But since they were filming it, but it was, you know, it was a live audience of people who paid to come and see it, and it really turned me off of that comedian. Like, because I was just kind of like, dang, you knew that they were taping it. I know you've done the show before. I know you've practiced the show. And if you have to say a joke 3 times, it's kind of like.
That's the thing.
Well, the thing, real quick. I've saying this so many times. It's the equivalent to watching somebody perform a show live, like in front of a crowd, like a rapper, versus them recording it in the booth. The booth is made for takes, but comedy, like the rhythm of the beat, is the audience. So during the taping, you need that extra take sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Now, some people are beasts with tape, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it's more the camera is the king, not the crowd when it comes to taping versus a live show. The crowd is the king because at the end of the day, we're really the bar, but the crowd is the king because at the end of the day, if they have a good time, that means the promoter gonna have a good time. They're gonna be flowing, more people gonna pay. But anyway, that's just my
take. But you know what though, Jeremy has some background in production too, so he's talking kind of above the head. I mean, it makes sense. Everything he said made sense, but you said that kind of through the lens of a comic and someone who knows production.
Well, yeah, just take time. Time is, because you asked me to year in, I would just be like, not only I don't know, I've seen so many things.
Some dumb shit. Like, cause I thought, man, when I first started doing comedy, I thought I had it down. The first time I went on stage, I killed it, and that was not like just my superb skill. It was a perfect storm. And I told these two women after a show, I was like, look, if you're a real comic, you don't have to worry about writing material. If you're really about comedy, you're really about that life.
You was on one, man.
Because it just comes to me. That's how I know I'm a real comic.
Yo, you just triggered a memory, man. First of all, real quick, I gotta give you the proper due. So I perform at the Comedy Store pretty often. I mean, that's probably like the club I performed at the most in my life, right? Upon my even general introduction to the Comedy Store, I didn't realize I had such good luck just with getting up, because it's actually pretty hard to get up. We have a potluck on Mondays. I think Mondays, whatever. I don't even know what they do anymore. But but it's like literally like 200 people show up and only 10 get picked. I think only like 10, maybe no 15 gets picked out of all that. Even like literally Jamie Foxx got stories about it. A bunch of famous comedians got stories about it. But anyway, I got up my first time. Not only the first time, I kept getting up, and people just like, what the heck? How's he getting up so much? I didn't even realize at the time this man right here was the reason I was getting up at this place.
I mean, it wasn't a lot of black comics, you know what I'm saying? And I want to make sure, I just wanted to make sure people getting a fair shake. And I mean, if you the brother that shows up all the time, like shit. And then these other dudes that were like, well, how come he's getting? I'm like, it doesn't matter.
Yo, man, you took care of me, man. But this is the memory that you triggered.
Gatekeeper.
He was very for a second. That was the thing. And he was very honest and humble about it. He wasn't like on some like, I run this stuff. He just like literally, I'd be like, oh, thank you. He like, yeah, you're funny. Just walk away. That's Ibo. Just like, yeah, you're funny. That's it. But this is the memory that you triggered. So one time I get off stage, and everybody, when you do good, people go, hey, they all want to touch you. I don't know what that's about. They just want to touch you. He come up to me, he whispered in my ear, he go, yeah, Leslie wants to talk to you. Talking about Leslie Jones. Do you remember this? No,
I'm probably drunk.
Yo, Leslie want to talk to you, right? So I'm sitting in the back. Leslie was like, she was like, yeah, you're funny. I was like, thanks. She was like, yeah, but what was that bullshit though? I was like, what you mean? She said, you're funnier than that. I can tell you're funny. She said, that was cool, but she said, like, don't ever. She gave me this whole speech about, like, that's like your 8 Mile moment, the Comedy Store open mic, a potluck or whatever. You're technically auditioning. You know what I'm saying? Like, it don't seem like an audition, but there is a lot of pressure because pretty much the majority of the comedy scene is there. The bigger comedies, the later you go in the set, the more prime time it is. Like I said, it's not like that as much right now, but Leslie Jones,
that's a big deal, man. That's a big deal.
Back then, she was kind of casual around there, but this was her direct opinion. She goes, I don't want to see you do that bullshit no more. She said, you bring it next time. You hear me? She said, I can tell you're funny.
Ian Edwards, he said that to me. Ian Edwards came to me, like, everybody. I had this Jamaican bit that I did and stuff like that. And I was like, I do this Jamaican accent. And I came off stage, everybody's like, yeah, blah 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 blah, 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 blah. And he was like, so that's what you do now? Do you think that's like original? You think that's, you pushing comedy forward? I mean, if that's what you do, I mean, all right.
Hey, they get us right though, man.
Yeah, but I mean, he's right. Like, you can't. I learned by traveling the road and doing comedy all over the country that there are people out there that are headlining and making a lot of money and murdering that would not be able to speak word one in Los Angeles or New York because they don't write their own material. Their material's not topical. Their material's not like, they're not trying to innovate. They're just they're just clowns. They're just up there. Just
quick question. This is off script too. So what I'm getting from Jeremy's conversation, and both you guys is holding it back. Ebro was the gatekeeper. He had it popping. He had was part of a comedy scene. And in this comedy scene that you had, you guys just saw, a lot of comedians. Now, I'm going to pose this the same way a hip hop purist would pose the question to someone who just likes hip hop. Because a comedian doesn't write their own jokes, does that make them not funny?
Nah, you're still an entertainer.
Okay.
I mean, you're still a showman.
Okay.
But you ain't no comic.
Can I let me give a little more diplomacy.
I'll put it like that. It's like that.
Yeah.
Like you are still an entertainer. You still have talent. It takes talent to deliver a joke and make people laugh. But if you're not writing your own materials, like you just up there, you a clown.
Balance the scale, Jeremy.
Yeah, because there's more to it. I because this is the thing, I understand. There's just like people do the whole rapper versus MC, and they go comedian versus comic, or whatever have you. All that terminology is crap. Is dope as it is. I mean, it's high school terms. At the end of the day, they are still comedians. What it is that it's like it's authenticity. You know what I'm saying? Like, people at the end of the day, no matter what field you're in, people respect authenticity, and not only do we respect it, you can feel it. Even when we're being harsh on how Black people treat comedy shows or whatever, let's be honest. Black people got a sense for bullshit. They smell it. They go, nah. Like, even if you wrote it and it's your joke and it came from your heart, it was like, like that's it. And that's what Leslie.
That's what I'm saying. It's like when you say, like, that means you're not a comedian. You're an entertainer. You're just somebody that gets on stage and people, wow, he does things that are funny.
Disclaimer. Disclaimer.
Like he said, like Drake. Like, Drake is not a rapper.
Disclaimer. Now, here's the point. Now, let's say you've proven that you can write. You're a proven writer, but you get to the point of fame where you're doing movies, you're doing TV shows, you ain't got time to craft material. So you have writers behind you that write for you. That's fine. But nigga, if you working at Taco Bell, you got time to write. You can't just come in with writers. You got to prove that you can write. You got to prove that you can put out a set.
Disclaimer.
Now, once you do that, you good.
For anyone watching, Ibo is the gatekeeper.
He's not a gatekeeper. He was essentially. He was, because there's a roster at the store, like, employees, you know what I'm saying? And it's a legendary position to be in. Like, I've never been an employee at the store, but I've been friends. A lot of my friends have been employees at the store. But it's kind of like, like, I'm gonna do this for a friend. But at the end of the day, they still in line too. You know what I mean? Like, especially back then, to be honest with you, he took a lot of hazing directly, because they're a lot lighter on door guys now. But back then, they were kind of it was kind of like a what you call, like fraternities, you know what I mean, like a rite of passage type of thing. But
I mean, it wasn't too bad. Like, as long as you was funny on a regular basis, they kind of eased off you a bit. And if, like, the only people that used to fuck with me were dudes that were fucking hilarious. So, like, because I came in funny, so it wasn't like that. You couldn't. What are you gonna talk about? You see me on stage, But the people that could body me on stage,
that is the status quo right there.
They talk like they put me in my place, but it was out of love though. Like the people that they saw no hope in, they didn't say shit to.
Nothing.
You know what I'm saying? You see like all
Why
the
waste some
scapegoats in the back,
direction?
they'll see somebody up there bombing, and then after they get downstairs, they're like, "What's that?"
That's very true. Segueing back into it, what are your thoughts on the Chauvin verdict? Which is Chauvin, real quick, is the police officer who was kneeling on George Floyd's neck for 8 minutes and 47 seconds. He was
a scapegoat.
Scapegoat for what?
The system.
Everybody that got away.
That's it. I mean, they put a bad, but he's not a bad cop. He's a cop. Cops in general are bad. Like the whole system is flawed. The way they're trained is flawed. The way they see, the way they were birthed as police officers in the United States is flawed. So they scapegoat these bad cops, but these cops are usually highly decorated. You know what I'm saying? They've been on the force for a very long time. They've trained other police officers. They are part of the culture. And so they're doing just what the fuck they used to doing. And then the police, and then the U.S. government and the state government, they throw him to the wolves. Like, yeah, he's a bad apple. I'm like, he was a clean apple before. So what are you growing? What kind of fruit are you growing? That's the thing. It's a bad tree. This whole thing needs to be restructured and rebuilt.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I mean, because this is going to keep happening. As long as police are trained the way they're trained, and as long as society sees African Americans the way they see African Americans, this will always be able to go on. Because this was a trial against George Floyd. It wasn't a trial against Chauvin. They were talking about Floyd more than they were talking about Chauvin.
You know what I would have really liked to see, or what I would like to know, and they'll never give us this information. How much money did people donate to the Chauvin's defense, man? I really would like to see how much money. That would really say a lot about America. Not saying that it hasn't been said before.
You know it was a lie. Everybody knows what it is about America. They know the truth about America. The truth about America is in the laws. It's in the book. You can go read it. They don't lie about what America is. It's just people don't want to open their eyes because they want to see themselves as good people and just people, and America being a bastion of freedom, which is retarded. How you gonna be the freest country without free people?
Let me tell you something. I was in Amsterdam one time, and I was at the far side. We had finished the show, and we were walking to the hotel, and instead of catching cabs, we walked. In the side of town that we were on, you kind of had to walk maybe like 10 minutes or whatever. But in Europe, everybody did, like, if you say like, man, it's 10 minutes, I'm gonna hop in the cab, they talk about you bad. They be like, you unhealthy Americans, you know what I'm saying? You can't walk 10 minutes. Like, come on. So we were walking, and this dude was drunk, and he was like, they were kind of giving us a sightseeing situation on the way walking back to the hotel. So they were like, this whatever this church was or whatever, they're like, you know, this is, you know, medieval or whatever, like super old. And then homeboy was saying like really kind of like snobby. So the girl, or it was his girlfriend, so she was like, man, stop being rude. She's like, you know, they're from America. They don't have anything old like this. You know what I'm saying? And then I really thought about it. Like it had never, like my mind had just never thought of that concept. And I was like, damn, we are new. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we're really new. And then what we come from rebellion. You know what I'm saying? And rebellious activities. And so it's like, it's a trip, because I was talking to one of my homeboys. He's a rapper, and we were just talking about cultural and inherent ways that people act. And so today we were talking about the Hatfields and the McCoys, because he was saying that, you know, what the George Floyd trial kind of showed him, what he saw from the Chauvin trial on, you know, talking about George Floyd. What he was saying was something's happened that's never happened before. And the thing that happened is there's always been, you know, an inherent racism against like Black people, and then everybody other than Black, but harder on Black people than anybody else. But he said what was different about this was that it made people who might not act racist as far as like calling somebody the N-word or just, just really doing something to oppress somebody. It took the person that won't do that, but they'll look the other way. You're a racist. You know what I'm saying? So this is the first time that like people were actually called racist for like looking the other way. And he was saying that, when they were showing the rioting and the looting and all that kind of stuff, it's the first time, because I always feel like social media and just like all the camera access and Big Brother, I feel like it's kind of like too much sometimes. And it's just like, there's a gift and a curse to it. But the thing about it is, with the coverage of like the rioting, the looting, and the stuff that went on behind George Floyd, it was a lot of white people that were upset too. And that's what kind of, it's like you have the parent of the child, and the parent is kind of like, that's not your business. Maybe he was a bad person or whatever. But then you got their kids who are coming up in this hip hop hybrid culture, multicultural, type situation.
They didn't see us as humans.
Yeah.
Like they didn't see us. Like they didn't see, they would say that we were equal, but in their minds, they didn't feel equal. Like that's one thing that George Floyd did when he called out for his mom. Everybody, like there's so many people, regardless of race, understood that sentiment and understood that fear and understood that, and to see that, it's jarring.
Same thing with Superman and Batman. When Batman had him, he was like, Martha. He was talking about his mom. It's the same. George Floyd was like Superman.
I mean, everybody loves their mom. And so like, if you take this pet, which is basically, because this goes far back. This goes back to the case of Dred Scott I think it was 1862. When he went with he was a physician's assistant. He was a very intelligent Black man who was a slave, who was a physician's assistant. So he's not an idiot. He moves to a free state. He's like, hey, why am I a slave in a free state? And so he takes it to court like a human being would. But the Chief Justice, he's like, no. These laws were written for men. As a Negro, you are not allowed to use the Constitution in defense of yourself as a lesser being. You are only free, and he said this. He said you are only free at the discretion of the United States government.
True.
So we're not free people; we're freed people, and those laws are still on the books. That's why it's so easy for them to just dismiss the death of a Black man, because it's like it's like losing cattle, and they don't want to admit that.
Can I run this quote from Dred Scott? It says, "The question is simply this: can a Negro whose ancestors were imported into this country and sold as slaves become members of a political community formed and brought into existence by the Constitution of the United States, and as such become entitled to all the rights and privileges and amenities guaranteed by that instrument to the citizen?" And that's essentially what the whole thing is. And we still haven't been able to fully answer that to this day.
They say, hell no.
They still haven't given a direct answer.
But you know what hasn't helped us though? I'm not gonna do that on this show. I'm not gonna do that on this show. I need to take a page. I need to take a page out of some other people's book. This is the conversation that we have before we go live. You know what I'm saying? That part of the conversation.
How about this? I got you. You hit on something pretty good earlier. You was talking about how much money, who was actually providing the money for Chauvin's defense. And it actually has it right here. Now, come on, we know that ain't totally true, but it did say the details of the legal defense fund, which is actually here, shows the full process, including the
how many million
stipulation. No, actually, it was just over 500,000, roughly over 500,000.
That's amazing.
But it said pretty much the people who are paying for it is the Minnesota Police Department, or yeah. So basically, that was the majority of it. And they
I would
said
have
they
thought
weren't
donors and groups and stuff
they
like that would have came in.
technically, like I said, I do not back any of these words. Technically, they weren't allowed to donate. That's actually
Okay, I
part.
knew
Like
it had to be
the
something. I knew it had to be something
they
because
technically are not allowed. But the Minneapolis Police Association are the people who were supposed to get the bill, supposedly.
They can take
Okay.
donations.
Huh?
They can take donations.
Like I said,
I
this
mean,
is what it said. Look, it said, I'm gonna read it right here. It said, beyond that, the executive director alluded to the fact that he has received calls from people looking to donate to the Chauvin defense effort themselves, but claims repeatedly he told callers that the fund doesn't accept donations. So
okay, all right. Well, okay. So they
But-
stopped people from giving them money, but if they wouldn't have stopped people from giving them money,
I mean, there has to be some legal stipulations in there, but not to the benefit of Black people. No, this is some other political mumbo jumbo. I mean, for other reasons, whatever. But regardless, you know, they gonna have his back. You know, he got the blue shield, or whatever. But obviously, he was used. You know, you say scapegoat. I mean, I'm like this. When you affect the world on that level, you can't just walk around like a free man. So.
Oh yeah, I mean, most definitely. But I mean, it's the system. It's the system that backed him. He didn't do that by himself. You can't just cuff people and kneel on their neck if everybody's against it. If there's good cops, you know, it's hard to be like I have an uncle that worked in law enforcement, and he felt like when he worked in Atlanta in the department that he was at, it was a lot of Black people, and they were policing their own, and they knew the community, so it worked how policing should work. You know the community, you have a connection. When something's going wrong, you could talk to people. You know, you can talk to like if dude's running from a crime, you know, you're like, man, all right, no, let him go. I'll call his mom. He'll be at the station tonight. You know what I'm saying? She ain't gonna let him back in the house. I know where he went to school. You know, that's how policing is supposed to work. You're supposed to be able to police your community. You know, that's why the community taxes go to the police, and they live in that community. That's been lost. We have all these, especially with the internet, we have these people coming from places that do not know the community that they're working in. And a lot of these people are coming from wars where they drive around in a foreign country, and the people do not look like them, do not talk like them. So they go from riding in a Humvee over in Iraq or Afghanistan, and then they come to riding in a police car with these people that do not talk like them and have a different culture, and they look at them the same way.
Man,
you
really?
I would take it one step further and say that is the culture.
Nah,
that's the culture.
Ibo is touching on something. He's touching on something
right,
because this is the thing. The same amount of void of compassion under the flag of the United States, you know, whether, you know, for whatever reason, but the void of compassion is these cats rolling through the inner cities or whatever, and they see the Black people as animals. You know, they literally like their eye, like that's what their eyes see.
But the reason why I say taking a step,
I won't even say they see them as animals. They see them as other.
The reason why I say
like when I was in Iraq, in order for me to be able to do my job to the best of my ability and to make sure every Marine got back home, because that was my goal, is to get us there and get us back, because I wanted to. I knew these people. These are my brothers, so I didn't want to see any of them get hurt. And the potential for hurt was coming from the people in that country. And I don't give a fuck what you were saying, what you look like, if you was a boy, girl, fucking pet. I don't give a shit. I will take you out because I know that I'm not the good guy in this situation. At least I did. But I'm an American. And I took a vow, I took an oath, and I ride with my squad. You know what I'm saying? I was like, yo, my bad, you were born here. That sucks for you. But if you move, I'll kill you.
So that's how you feel about other football teams too?
Yeah, when I play football, hell yeah.
No, because you repping 49ers. I'm like, like this is my squad.
I'm not representing 49ers. I'm repping Cap. That's it.
Word.
Shit about the 49ers.
How did being a vet affect your comedy?
It lets me know how important it is to laugh. You know, it lets me know that it's a gift. You know, it's not something that, I mean, I did cultivate it, and I do deserve some credit, but I was given a remarkable gift to be able to bring joy to people. And I have to look back on that when things get rough, because things got rough for me. You know, things got rough for me. I fell on hard times, and I'm not ashamed of those hard times because they made me appreciate my gift more. And it made me put more into my comedy moving forward, you know. And I say I'm one of the most blessed people in this country because I get to do what I love to do, my passion, for a living. And that's a remarkable gift. A lot of people work their entire lives at a job they can't stand because they need that money to take care of their family and stuff like that. And I've just been lucky, been blessed, and especially with all the things I've been through, to be able to still, you know, even though it's difficult, even though it's hard getting in contact with people, you know, it's hard, like I'm just trying to get to the stage, you know, but it's still my passion that I get to make, you know, money doing. I get to, when my son, I was talking to my son the other night, and I wanted to mention him and his passion. But I saw this thing online, and I could be like, hey, Nasim, you want that? That's gonna help you with your passion. And I could just bow. I just buy that. And that's a gift.
That's dope, man. That's dope. So tell me this. Who was the first comedian? Now I know that you said when you were over in the Iraq War, that was the first time you did comedy and whatever. When you went up to do comedy for the first time, not saying that you pulled from other comedians, but like, who was the comedian that you looked at and you were like, I think I can be good? Like, you know, like, man, they inspire me to be good. Like they're comedic genius.
And it's a team of them. It's not one, you know, it's a bunch of comedians that Bill Burr, Bobby Lee, Brody Stevens, you know, all these guys. I would go up there and I would watch their command of the audience, the way they told stories, you know, and the way they put stuff together, the way they made the simplest things hilarious. Like just like especially Brody, man. Brody would be talking about going someplace to eat with his mom, and it was just so funny. And I was
talk about Brody the Joker.
No, Brody Stevens. No,
okay.
You talking about Brandon Brody.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. No, and then Bill Burr. I was watching Bill Burr's set one time, and he was talking about all these different things, but at the last minute, seemingly effortlessly, he put the whole thing together on some goddamn Kaiser say so, usual suspects type shit at the end, where it was this amazing joke. And I had no idea how he pulled that off. But the fact that I could see it let me know how much more of a journey I had in comedy to get to, how much funnier I could get. And I was like, I was excited. You know,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
And watching Dave Chappelle. I mean, all he did was say off cuff, he's like, "Oh, you're in the military? Oh, that must have been rough. That's probably why you're so funny." I'm like, I felt like a girl. I'm like, you think I'm funny?
Nah, that's dope. I'll say this, man. It's like, I feel like, you know, I like I say, my only, you know, spigot, utter, whatever to comedy, like live comedy, like what goes on now is somewhat through Jeremy and the relationship with him and whatnot. But I kind of felt like I was like blindsided by Bill Burr. I was like, where did he come from? And it's interesting for you to say that he was one of the guys that you thought were really funny. So it's not like he just popped up out of nowhere and he just came with this very,
very long time.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Like, when did you get hip to him?
So like, I mean, there are people that are just naturally talented and just got it, but a lot of times they'll blow up too quickly and then they'll have to reinvent themselves because they're learning. Wow, you know, they're on this high road and it's difficult. You know, most comics, man, you don't see them like on the big stage until they're like been like 10, 15 years in. Because comedy is about life and you gotta live to be able to, people really understand it. You know, like you gotta really live through some shit to make some shit funny sometimes, especially if it's something that's usually not funny.
You know what? I got a confession. I watched 2 weeks ago for the first time in its entirety. I watched The Kings of Comedy.
Oh wow.
I don't care what people say about Steve Harvey, man. He funny, man. He funny. He was. It was crazy because it was like when I watched it, I had never really seen Bernie Mac stand up, but I've seen him in TV shows and everything. But I didn't expect him. He was exactly what in my mind I thought, like how hilarious he was. Cedric the Entertainer. You know, he was, you know, he was as hilarious. And then like the baby G with DL Hughley, like that made sense. But I was really entertained by Steve Harvey, man. He was I mean, he did a lot of, you know, whatever, but you know, people give him like a hard time or whatever, but his
antics. It's antics, not his comedy. They love his comedy.
It's
his antics.
It's that bullshit. I met Steve Harvey when I was a kid.
Nothing to do with his comedy. He's a great comedian.
I'm not talking about who he is. I'm not talking about
that's why people give him a hard time. Everybody, he's funny. That's why we tolerate him.
I'm not talking about his haircut. I'm not talking about who he is. I'm not talking about the type of food he liked, the kind of car he drives.
I met him when I was a kid.
Okay.
Oh wow.
There was a comedian that lived in my building growing up, and Steve Harvey and Cedric the Entertainer used to come to my building all the time.
Wow.
And I was with my mom, and she asked Steve Harvey asked my mom what my name was, and I thought it was weird. I'm like, nigga, I can talk. Like,
what your name is?
No, but you know, like how the old school black folks, like kids don't talk. Now, like you, hey, I ain't talk to you, child. You be quiet. What's the boy name? And so and then in classic Steve Harvey, she said my name was Ibrahim. And then she's like, yeah, you go, these black women, giving all these names, little these crazy names. You know what I'm saying? Give names. Like, and then she corrected them. My mom is like, this is the reason I'm funny. My mom was like, well, my son's name means messenger of God. What does Steve mean?
Ha ha ha.
And then the was like, you got you, dog.
It means loud and expensive.
So I mean, it's just that it's his arrogance that kind of gets people off put by him. But I mean, like I said, there's nobody that's up there for no reason. Because when you do comedy, you're just one man and a microphone, and you got to fucking make it happen. No matter what, man, you can put all the stuff behind you, but at the end of the day, it's just you and that microphone. And I respect, even if like I don't agree with the way they do things, I respect a good hustle and a good mentality towards making yourself better. And that's what I'll say about Steve. I mean, he hustles and he works on his art form. And as long as you respect the craft, I can dig it.
I don't want to give Steve too much attention. He already is rich and famous enough. But I think a lot of let's just say whatever negative press that he's gotten, a lot of it started from his relationship with Bernie Mac, because even back then, you know, there was rumblings about why they never did more, because I don't know if it still is, but I think at the time it was the highest earning stand-up tour and movie combined gross just as an entity under the stand-up banner. Like a stand-up doesn't generate that much money overall.
Did Spike Lee shoot that?
Yeah, I think he did. Yeah, but overall, just about how much money it generated. You know, so it's like, why not do it again? But it was because supposedly, I don't know how true this is, but basically Steve Harvey, when he came up with the concept, he initially was the headliner, but night after night, Bernie Mac was the funnier comic, but he was also the least famous comic. So they ended up putting him at the end headlining. He had the least credits or whatever. But anyway, like I said, neither here nor there, all hearsay. I don't know what I'm talking about. Ibo, what is your greatest achievement?
My children.
Yeah, that's what they all say. I don't have children, so my greatest achievement.
You know, I can't stress that enough, because it's the thing that like me going for what I love to do and not giving up, and despite anything that happened, being like, you know what, I'm a goddamn comedian and I'm gonna figure this shit out and I'm gonna keep doing this because this is what I love and this is who I am. And I have 2 children that have passions that they follow. And and then the people around them, they're like, hey, like, my son was like, yo, I'm gonna take a year. I might go to college, I might not. And his mom was like, oh my God, he's gonna be homeless in the gutter, he's gonna live on the couch. And I'm like, nah, he's not. Because he has a passion for what he does. And my daughter, she models. And and my daughter's very dark. And it was one of the things that was like, because she has a half Latin background, and in that culture, they kind of frown upon and they make fun of, and they kind of make you feel bad for being dark.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that, my whole goal was to make sure that she understood that she was beautiful. And no matter what anybody said about her skin complexion, she was the most beautiful woman on the planet. And the fact that she was able to develop the confidence within herself to move that's a success of mine, And I'm proud of her, and I'm proud of my son. So that's my greatest achievement. Yeah, I mean, comedies, I feel like I still got a lot of places to go and a lot of things to do. One of my greatest achievements in comedy is probably the World Series of Comedy. That really started my career. I got the first runner-up in the World Series, and it was a national competition. And that was the first time I felt like a professional. Like I was, okay, I'm an elite comic. I'm not just some dude that's just gets some giggles. I'm like, yo, I'm ready. There's nobody I feel that can blow me off the stage. Of course, there are comedians that are way better, but I rise to the occasion I'm in. So I feel like I'm in a class with everybody. There's nobody that's out of my class.
So, oh, go ahead, Jeremy.
No, go ahead.
So you said that you mentioned some comedians that made you want to do comedy, or the ones that you like or that inspired you or something like that. So if I had to ask you in no particular order, your top 3 comedians, alive or dead, who would be some of the names you could toss into that hat with a good conscience?
I'm gonna have to say Ibo. No. It's like Dylan.
Yeah, of course.
Dylan. No, my top three is pretty. I'm gonna have to say 4, just
Mount
because
Rushmore.
there's 2 that I can't leave one off. My top 4: Richard Pryor, George Carlin, Eddie Murphy, Dave Chappelle.
Tight. Real quick, you know what? It had kind of, this has been a cool conversation. It kind of slipped me, but an observation of today being the cannabis smokers holiday of 420, and even being more prevalent with the legislation and whatnot that's gone down in California, Los Angeles. I wanted to share with you a project that Booty Brown of the Far Side has been working on.
Hey.
A cannabis oil. And the name of the company is Bottos Gardens. Bottos, Bottos Gardens, breaking on to the other side. And it will be available in a dispensary near you in the next few weeks. I want you guys to keep your ear to California Cannabis. Easy to remember. California Cannabis dispensaries. They have one located in Los Angeles on Soto downtown. They have a location off of Crenshaw, off of Florence and Crenshaw, and they have one on Manhattan Place, which is right off of Western and Melrose. So
Western Melrose.
Oh man, I'll send you over there, man. I'll send you over there and get you right, man. I get
go Florence and Crenshaw. I'm good.
You live in Gary, Indiana, and you talking about you good? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because I live there. I know when not to go.
You know what I'm saying? You live where Sparrow.
Can I plug my son?
Yeah.
Yeah. I sent you. I emailed you one of his most popular tracks. He is a producer, and a budding rapper, And he's been doing this stuff since he was like 14. I mean, the first beat he ever made, he remixed the SpongeBob audio, and it just blew my mind. And I think he's incredibly talented, and he's been working on it a long time. So if you just get a little snippet or something, put it if you find it, it's in the email that I sent you.
Nah. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do this.
Yeah,
okay. I'm gonna take a listen. I'm gonna take a listen to it, and then the network that we're on, PharcydeTV. I'm gonna shoot it over to Brown. And matter of fact, don't worry about a song. If he has any videos, like some video, like a videos or whatever, I'll get it ran on the network. You know what I'm saying? And we'll give him a proper little shout out and do that. And then also we can set him up for an interview in a couple of few. You know what I'm saying? So
I would appreciate that, and I will get back. I'll be on you.
You know what? I'm gonna tell you what's interesting about this interview. Last week we did an interview with this nonprofit called Save the Brave, and they were all veterans who had served in the Iraq War. You know, and they come back, and so what they do is they take other veterans out on fishing trips, and they do things to help them deal with PSD and PTSD and other issues like that. But really a good cause, man. It put it this way, they own a barbecue spot, Bastards in Whittier, I believe it is, Bastards. I'm a foodie to the heart, man. Please believe that when I say I really love food. After these guys told their story, man, I was like, man, I couldn't even take a free plate from you, man. Like I gotta support you. You know what I'm saying? So you doing what you're doing. So with you, Ebro, this is my first introduction into you, into your comedy, and I see how passionate you are about your kids. And so definitely, I'm gonna take a listen to your son, and then we'll get that part figured out. Yeah, we'll get that figured out for real.
Oh, cool. Yeah, it's a pleasure meeting you for the first time. I've watched a couple. I watched because I support my boy. You know what I'm saying? When he do something, I'll take a look, I'll take a listen. You know what I'm saying? Because I like to be right. You know what I'm saying? I like to be right about something. I like to be like, when I say, man, this dude's funny. And then for him to stick with it and keep going, I'm like, thank you. I
Oh, I had another story. Oh, that's right. Real quick. I remember a lot of times when we're getting gigs, you always have to choose between, obviously I have a background in production, but it's just always other stuff, between balancing gigs, especially because a lot of these gigs don't be bringing a bunch of money. So I remember this was a while ago, but I remember I had. Well, did you hook me up with that, or I think somebody else hooked me up with it? There's this thing called Sketch Fest in San Francisco, right? It was like a competition.
DeMar
hooked us up with it, right? So yeah, I was a part of that, but I was trying to plan or whatever, but Ibo hit me up like, yo, can I roll with you there? And I was like, oh yeah, sure, at the time, because I wasn't 100% sure, but I was trying to get my ducks in a row, right? And he was like, yeah, man. He said, it's either between you and me. So he said, I was like the confidence that he had.
Classic.
Yeah, the confidence he had about it. I was just like, well, competition might be stiff. He goes, nah, man, literally. One of the people in this car is going to win, right? So like maybe a week later, I found out I had to make some money, really. So I was just like, yeah, man, I ain't gonna be able to go. He was like, well, thank you for letting me win. I appreciate it. I was like, hey, man, well, I was like, hey, man, good luck, man, whatever, because the prize for the competition was a free tattoo.
Yeah,
the tattoo on this man's arm right here. He called it. He literally said, I forgot how many people were supposed to enter, but he said it was gonna be between me and him. And the fact that I was not coming meant that he automatically won. And he did that. Like that sticks with me in other areas of my life. Like that much, that calm confidence. Like, bro, like you was my only competition.
I was like, there's nobody else.
Stay home.
And I'm like, because it was, first of all, it was a sketchy fest. So it was the offshoot of the main fest that was going on.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I'm like, dude, if you can't make it into the sketch in your own city, you know what I'm saying? You're not gonna beat me. You're not gonna be my boy Jeremy, bro. Like, come on, man, we pros. Now let me. I'm designing my tattoo. When you said you wasn't going, I started designing my tattoo and shit. You said I went and looked at the dude, the artist, the tattoo company. I went and looked at this stuff. I'm like, yeah, all right, that's what I'm gonna get.
You know, something funny about Jeremy, and I say that I've said this at least 5 times or 5, 6 shows or whatever. The funny thing about Jeremy, he'll say that he knows comedians, but he really knows comedians. And when I say knows comedians, he has relationships with comedians. It's not like, I'm sure there's a lot of people where Jeremy's like, okay, you know, he knows them from being around or whatever, but he generally has relationships with a lot of comedians. That's dope.
You know why?
Huh.
Because not that I know them, it's because they know me.
He's adorable. Adorable. He's a social butterfly, man. It's hard to get mad at him. Like, he doesn't have beef. Like, like it's like okay, but like that's because they did some fucking shit. It's like, I ain't never heard nobody, man, you seen Jeremy Scipio? Tell that motherfucker come see me. What
you know why? You know why? Because at the end of the day, I got bars. You know what I'm saying? Because for real, if you ain't got bars, they'll talk about you like you a dog. They see a weakness in your game. Oh, they da. But if you got bars, they be like, man, I don't like him. Why? I don't even know. He just weird. They ain't got nothing to say. you gotta compete with the bars, baby.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, that's how it is. Yeah, that's like when I first came up here. I had a job already at the Comedy Store when I first came to LA.
Oh wow.
And then people were like, they tripped on that for one day.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first day they were like, yo, what the fuck is he doing here? Did my set, they were like, oh, okay. Sir, my name's so-and-so. You know what I'm saying? Like,
So,
shoot, once
so
you get
tell
on
me
stage,
this,
you do your thing.
Ibo, if you had to narrow it down to 3, I got to take it back to hip hop. We started with hip hop. We went on a journey. I got to bring it back to hip hop because the whole thing is hip hop and comedy.
Mm-hmm.
We had a whole bunch of comedy. We had a cool amount of hip hop. If you had to give us 3 rappers, who would be 3 rappers? Top 3. It's gonna say a whole lot about you, man.
He ain't been real active lately, but I love the brother to death. Vince Staples.
Oh yeah.
Vince Staples, man.
No, Vince be active. He just don't be in front of the camera. But he's
that's what I'm saying. Like, well, I ain't heard a lot out of him, but everything I hear out of him, it's like a step up. Every time I hear something new, it's always a step up. And another brother that's newer, because like, I mean, the past is the past. I can't go back.
Nah, you can go back.
Let me explain this.
Okay.
It's like going back in sports. The people now have the benefit of the experience of the people before. And when I listen with an unbiased ear, I hear the development of hip hop and the metaphors and the fact that the people that are not seen, that are putting these bars out, are ridiculous. Mm-hmm. So here's my second one, Nino Man. I don't know Nino Man. Listen to Nino Man track.
That's a meme. That's a meme right there. Jeremy's face when he said Nino Man.
Nino Man, that dude, man.
It's like
he just says bars. He said one track. He said he's like, I got that 40 round the corner like I'm 39. Get out of here! Get out of here! I'll put green on your head like Luigi.
I don't know about that one, but the first one was hard though.
You gotta think about it. He putting money on you, he's gonna kill you. But he talking about Mario Brothers. That's dope.
I mean,
anyway,
I feel you though.
And then my third,
it
would have to be Kendrick.
Okay.
Yeah. You know, with Kendrick, it took me a while to embrace it, but it had to do with like a vocal effect that they had on his voice or something like that. There was something going on with there was something that was going on with that. And then when he made the album for old people like myself, To Pimp a Butterfly, it's kind of like that was his ode to my generation.
Before I got on stage at the World Series of Comedy, I listened to Kendrick, "To Pimp a Butterfly." I had that in my headphones, and it was saying, and that song was like, "We gonna be all right." I'm like, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna be all right. I'm gonna be all right.
Yeah.
Let me go out and feel this.
I love
And
that.
so he's an inspirational, like that whole album told a story, and that's rare these days, that you go from track to track to track and you follow a progression of a story
in its entirety. You can listen to an album. That's the, you know what? That, and I'm glad you said that, because it's going to help me check myself. Up until COVID hit, I would listen to one album in its entirety every weekend. Like I would figure out a album to listen to, because I was like, people forget that an album isn't just like 10 to 15 songs, 10 to 18 songs that are just by an artist who you like. When I was coming up, I know it sound like an old man, an album told a story and it took you from here to there. And in that journey from here to there, you had highs, you had lows, you may have had, you know, you had like all these things. And it's like, no, go ahead, Ibo.
You know, the old school album that I recently just listened to is in its entirety, that was underrated, I believe. And it was a nice trip with Negroes. Black Sheep, their debut album.
It's been years, but it was a good, I remember it was a good album.
Yeah, man, because I was listening to him, and it's like, and it gave you that feel of just hanging out in the park in the summer, just bullshitting, and then people telling stories, and I remember, and that story goes to this story, and that's what the album felt like. And I miss those type of feelings when you listening to an album in your car and you're driving and you feel like you're not alone. You know, you feel like you with them brothers and they telling stories and they in your ear and stuff like that. And that's yeah.
Every now and then, somebody names somebody that skipped me. It's very rare, but you've done it twice today.
I'm an old man, boy.
Yeah, you also New Blood. You named Nino Man. I'm like, who is this dude? But you know what? I'm a be on
my son made me listen to music different. You know, it made me want to, like, because I love hip hop. I like, if I wasn't a comedian, I'd probably be in hip hop in some way, shape, or form. Be it rapping or music or production or something like that. But you know, I love comedy like a great deal. But hip hop, that's my, like, it takes me through everything. With anything that happens, I could always just listen to. I could listen to something that's gonna help me get through. You know.
What's your dream versus match? Like the versus battles they've been doing on IG.
Dream versus match?
Yeah.
You know what? Like, since it's a dream, you know what I'd like to see? Big L and Big Pun.
Whew. Yeah. That's a good one. That's a good answer.
Nigga versus fat niggas.
Oh man,
they both could go.
Ridiculous.
That was a good one.
Yeah, that'd be ridiculous.
That's a good one to put out there too.
People forget how raw Big Pun was.
Big Pun's from the Bronx.
Is he from the Bronx?
I assume all Latinos are from the Bronx.
All I know is, like, I remember I was listening to Fat Joe. Like, Big Pun used to make Fat Joe seem like he was, and Fat Joe's raw. But Big Pun used to make Fat Joe look like an amateur on his own tracks.
I know this.
Bronx. I knew it. Anyway, sorry. Yeah,
there was a song. Yeah. There was a song by I Don't Want to Be a Player No More. Big Pun and Joe. Woo! Yeah. I gotta date myself. I'm an old man, but it was cracking at that point in time. Club life, social interaction, all that was popping. So, segueing from Big Pun and Joe, I Don't Want to Be a Player No More. Hitting the club, getting your little gear during the week, getting ready to step out on a Friday night.
An unnecessary amount of velour.
we didn't do it. You know what though? I did do a Sean John velour USC colored sweats.
You know it did. You know you did. I had a Carolina blue velour outfit. I used to wear with a tank top back when I had abs from the Marine Corps.
I'm getting a message from Beyond that Vince Staples has 2 music projects and a Netflix special coming out.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
So He's feeding the people. But anyway, continue. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, nah. So we gonna wrap it up with this one. You working in the comedy scene. I say from everything that's been said to me, my little narrow mind says gatekeeper. Jeremy says no. You say no. I say gatekeeper to some extent.
He's still standing on it. That's funny.
So far from
where do you see social interaction going in the next 2 years?
It's gonna be different. It's gonna change, but it's still gonna go.
Mm-hmm.
Like there are things from this quarantine that are gonna stick with us, but a human's need to be a part of something will always be there. That's our nature. That's the reason that weak, skinny, slow, hairless animals were able to be masters of the planet, is because we put our heads together.
I was about to say, you're gonna stop making fun of
me. We need each other, and we have community, and that's you can't take that out of them. You can't take that out of a human. I mean, it'll be different. It'll be weird, but it finds a way. We find a way to find each other.
You know, something interesting. I spoke to a homeboy from the Bay today, and we hadn't gotten together for a while. We've been about maybe 3 months or so. We got together at a little festivity, little festivity, and he said something to me. We were just talking about the changes in life and everything, and him being from the Bay, he went to technology because that's what, you know, like that's where he saw, because I was telling him about like how the green rush in California with cannabis and everything, there's just like so much money and things are taking off. And he was saying, well, you know, the tech world in the Bay is like that on a whole nother level. And he was telling me something about there's people that like have a lot of money who like in their 70s or 80s or 90s, there's literally ways for them to pay money to legitimate companies and whatnot to get blood transfusions from like 20 and 30-year-old people. You know what I'm saying? Like people really pay for that. And so, you know, segueing into the future in the next 2 years and all that kind of stuff, I think we're in a place right now where with COVID, I won't say the creator, but I'll say the universe said reset, like a reset button got pushed. And I don't think that we've even seen the ingenuity that's going to come out of COVID, because you got to think when Versus first started, and I'll just use Versus as a kind of as a board, as like a sounding board. Mm-hmm. People really weren't into him at first. There was a lot of technical issues and whatnot, but it was like as the verses went on, they figured out a way to give it to people live where, you know, they corrected the internet connection problems. And then they got people were interested in seeing. Like before I got onto this, I was like, man, I was in the Red Man and Method Man. I was really having a good time, man. I was like, man, I forgot, but I've seen these guys live. So me seeing them on this Versus show, it just kind of like made me reminisce and say, man, these dudes this is what they do. You know what I'm saying? But I think that I had a conversation with my boy, shout out to Seeds of Xanadu, Justin, and we were at a farmer's market. He grows microgreens. And so
like small greens.
Yeah, like like a month old, you know. And I was asking him about social interaction, and he's like, man, you know, things are just, you know, they're changing. And we were at this where they have the farmers market in Cerritos is like in the parking lot of kind of like this huge office building. And I told him, I said, man, look behind you at this parking lot. I said, this parking lot probably used to be cows or something like that at one time. You know what I'm saying? Mm. So we're just evolving. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, who knows what the new evolution will be, but we're definitely evolving. But I do think there's enough money out there and there's enough people that are really smart that are going to come up with some ways to keep people spending money and to keep people.
Yeah, no, it's always gonna be that. It's always gonna be that. You know, as money's always got to leave the person and go to somebody else. That's the way it lives.
A fool and his money shall soon part.
Yeah, like shoot, man. Is it these stimulus? My stimulus almost gone.
Almost is a great word.
Yeah, I gotta buy a car. I'm finally getting a car, and I've been terrified of driving. You know, the whole, you know, like I've never had a problem with a cop on my feet. Like if I'm walking somewhere, I've never had a problem with any police officer because by the time they get to me, I've already smiled enough times to let them know how non-threatening I am. You know, but you know, I got the pink arm sleeve that I bought off Wish. I'm gonna put it when I ride in the car on the pink arm sleeve. So I think I might be Caucasian. We'll see.
Stupid.
So you got anybody you want to shout out before we wrap it up? Give your son's social media, man. It might be some people out there that want to check his production.
It's Riley is Fiction on Instagram. REILLYIS Fiction. Riley is Fiction.
Okay.
And his check him out on SoundCloud. It's Zephyr. He spelled it so many different ways. You could also find him as Little Cheesecake. That's one of his because he does comedic stuff too. He's got a couple of spoof songs that I love.
A Little Cheesecake
about icebreakers, and it's hilarious. But anyway, but like those are ways to get it. He makes it difficult for me to get in contact with him because he has this like different way of doing stuff where he tries to put himself in a position where if you want to listen to him, you really want to listen to him because he wants to create a fan base that will just I'll swim over the river to get to me. Not saying as I'm saying. Not saying.
And then give your socials. Give your socials.
Oh yes, Ibo Comedy. Instagram, everything's Ibo Comedy. My YouTube page, check it out. In the next couple of weeks, I'm gonna have some fresh new material. I got shit in editing right now. It's coming, and so that's the YouTube channel is Ibo Comedy. All the social media, Facebook, everything, Instagram is Ibo Comedy or at Ibo Comedy. Yeah, come check me out, man. I'm really excited about the new stuff. I got this new phone and the new camera, boy. I'm gonna look professional.
You look a hologram of yourself right now. That's what I was just like. Is this Ibo or is this
yeah? Because I'm in
past Ibo?
I'm in these streets, so that's where I wanted my background to be in these streets. You know what I'm saying? Got the Wakanda flag behind me. You know, keep it in the window. I want people to know they're going to a black house.
That's right.
And you, Jeremy, you got anything you want to shout out? Anything coming up?
All right, here we go. So shoot, I'm actually busy. I'm not gonna lie. So so Thursday I'm gonna be at Santa Monica Pier. They're doing some shows. It's called Earth Day Beach Festival. It's open to the public, a free show. I heard it's gonna be pretty big. I don't even know what to expect, so good luck. Get there early. Actually, that starts at 7:00. Then I canceled that show. Friday, I'm doing Comedy Chateau Under the Stars comedy at 8:00. There's a bunch of people on there, including the homie Tone Bell. I can name a bunch of people. Oh yeah, Anya Malik is on that show as well. So
Anya,
Splendid alum.
Yes, sir.
Let me see what else is going on. Not that it matters. I'm hosting a wedding on Saturday. This is one of my first ones, so it'll be funny. And then Friday, April 30th, I'm going to be at Lake Isabel. Was it 178 Bar and Grill? That's my complete schedule. Also, I want to leave people with this real quick. I'm an existentialist at heart. I ask all these smokers, because I'm not a smoker. People go, the 420 is everything. This even if it's 4:20 on a clock, they'd be like, "Oh, it's 4:20, time to smoke." And I'd be like, "Oh, okay. What does 4:20 mean?" And they'd be like, "I forgot," or "Shut up, you don't know what you're talking about."
Dude, why are you asking weird ass questions, dude? You burn, bro?
Everything has
We
an
don't ask
origin.
about your holiday, so why are you gonna ask about our holiday?
These is
My brother,
stoner
I don't
answers.
have holidays. I have Juneteenth.
Look, so
That's it. That's the only one I celebrate.
So I found out it was created by these group of dudes called the Waldos. These are white guys that hang by some walls or something like that. But it's Steve Capper, Dave Riddicks, Jeffrey Noel, Larry Schwartz, and Mark Gravage. They all came together to create an original holiday that wasn't stolen from any other race. So 420 is the first fully Caucasian holiday in America. There you go. That wasn't that no black people or any other genocidal attacks were made to create this holiday. So congratulations, white people. This is the first Columbus Day, Thanksgiving, Christmas. You didn't kill any other race in order to make this holiday. Congratulations.
420 has treated me well. And once again, we have right here in this nice box, you know what I'm saying? Right here. This is the real deal. The real deal. A lot of love, care, patience, and a couple other things has gone into.
It's all shiny.
Oh yeah, nah, it's just the real deal, man. You can go to the
stuff. Just make stuff shiny, and I'll buy it.
Yeah, you can go to the Splendid Radio, and we posted it on Splendid Radio. It kind of breaks down what Batos is. Once again, breaking on to the other side. And a nice cannabis oil with some cool stuff, and it'll be distributed by California Cannabis. Real cool dudes, real cool organization. You know what I'm saying? Some brothers trying to work it out, all that. So with all that being said, Jeremy need to kick in those CBD gummies, man. We need to work that out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, let's talk.
We need to work that out. So now, with that being said, yo, Ibo, I really appreciate you tapping in on this 420.
Hey, thank you for having me. Very
memorable show. And we gonna bring you back, man. I appreciate the knowledge. You know what I'm saying? The humbleness, because I think you're a gatekeeper. You're gonna tell me different, but I got a sixth sense.
You see all the shows that he said that he had? Did I mention the show that I had? None of that show is in May, maybe.
You're literally keeping a gate right now. You're holding the whole Wakanda behind you right now.
No, man, that's been Splendid Radio on Far.